Turkish onslaught against America's former SDF allies and their families in northern Syria, like this woman I photographed attending a funeral for SDF soldiers and civilians in Tal Tamr on Friday, has caused chaos throughout northern Syria. More than 200,000 people, Kurds, Arabs and Christians alike, are now on the move, fleeing an offensive by NATO member Turkey and its affiliated jihadist groups that has caused hundreds of casualties in the past 12 days alone. After President Trump's sudden order to withdraw US troops from the Syrian border last week, a decision which initiated the Turkish invasion against the SDF, who had so steadfastly fought against Islamic State, the sense of grief and betrayal amongst these abandoned people is overwhelming. The 120-hour ceasefire deal announced last week started late and already looks more like a pause in fighting than an end to it, and there is little doubt what will happen next should Turkey decide to unleash its air power and jihadist affiliates for the next phase of the offensive. Yet despite the overwhelming firepower at its disposal, evidence is now emerging which suggests that Turkey may also be utilising incendiary weapon types in Syria that are strictly prohibited from use against human beings. Both the Geneva and Chemical Weapons Convention ban incendiary weapons from use upon civilians like Sipan Rasho, a 30-year-old schoolteacher burned by Turkish munitions in an airstrike on the town of Aynisa on the 10th of October. They are prohibited from direct use in an incendiary role on fighters, such as Ahmed Ibrahim, 18 years old, a Kurdish SDF member, burned in an airstrike on the village of Aliyah on the 16th of October. And failure to adhere to these protocols can result in injuries like this to Mohammed Hamid Mohammed, 13, set aflame in the Turkish bombardment of Ras Al Ain 4 days ago. This is Dr. Abbas Mansuran, a prominent Iranian doctor with over 40 years' experience, who is currently in northern Syria treating patients at Hasaka State Hospital who have been burned in the Turkish offensive.
He was a teacher, and when bombed by airplane, air attack, six or 7 days ago.
And what is it about his injuries that makes you think it may be chemical or phosphorus caused?
That is not usual. It is not a usual burning. You see, look at the spots of the chemicals and the colors and especially for the type of burn. Shows that is not usual after an air attack.
Turkey has denied that it even possesses banned chemical weapons, and those denials are likely true. But it's more complicated than that. Incendiary weapons like white phosphorus are not themselves banned. White phosphorus is possessed by almost every NATO member army and commonly used in smoke, tracer, illumination and incendiary shells. But it is the manner of its use that is supposed to be strictly controlled by the Geneva and Chemical Weapons Conventions, which prohibit its use in an incendiary role on personnel and civilians and residential areas. In Hasaka Hospital alone, Dr. Mansuran says he has identified between 15 and 20 casualties with unusual burn types whose characteristics, including the deep, pitted burn spots associated with incendiary chemicals, the chemical smell of the injuries, and the burn shapes, all suggest they were caused by white phosphorus or a similar incendiary chemical. And the allegations against Turkey are strong enough for UN chemical weapons inspectors to have announced on Friday that they're now gathering information to launch an investigation into the claims.
Have the typical color of the kind of chemicals, not the usual burns, see here and here. And after 5 days, you have the color still here. And it's going toward this. If there was a usual burn, so it was a complete burning, not the spots, not like this color. So it's unusual.
Of course, it is incidental to these casualties, be they soldier, civilian or child, what type of Turkish weaponry burned them. And it may be that the UN investigation into the allegations never gains proper traction amidst the chaos of the war here. Whatever the outcome of any investigation, it will not change the sense of betrayal and abandonment felt amongst these people, Kurds and Arabs alike, left by the US coalition to face the might of Turkish weapon systems without any allies left on whom they can ever again depend.